What's going on, everybody? My name is Box.
And I'm Jackalope.
And welcome to day 6 of
Panduary.
Today's topic is Pandaria, and I just want to say before we start, special thanks in this video to Skull Shorties, Nan the Mistweaver, Jukai, and Goliath the Dwarf. These guys have a nice little segment in this video that'll be after ours. Basically just reminiscing and appreciating Mists of Pandaria, the expansion. And I just want to thank these guys for being a part of this video. It's really, really awesome having you guys on this. And yeah, no, I can't thank you guys enough for doing this. So anyway, Jackalope and I are going to reminisce on our experience with Pandaria. I want to just start this off by saying I actually think Mists of Pandaria is like a work of art, from the music, the characters, the storytelling. It's just a beautiful experience that I haven't really had in WoW, and it was just such a unique time for me. Jackalope started playing WoW in Legion, so she didn't get to experience MoP in its fullest. She's definitely experienced the overflow from me talking about it all the time. But what do you think of, like, the environment, Jackie, the characters?
I love the characters. I love the look of the land, or lay of the land, the story, the music. Like you said, I'm just reiterating what you're saying, but like you couldn't have said it better than that. Because like I'll still listen to the music while I'm drawing and stuff, and like it's beautiful. It's really cool. Yeah, I like the starting zone. I want to go back and like do some of the, if you can still, some of the missions and stuff. When we were farming or trying to get that celestial dragon mount, it was super fun just to see the different art style and the different bad guys. I love the Mogai.
Oh, the Mogu.
The Mogu and the Mantid. They're wicked cool. I want to see more of them.
When I was recording the Mantid video yesterday, Jackalope looks over, she's like, I want to play as one of those. So can we just talk about the music of Pandaria for a second? Like, the music's beautiful, and like, oh my gosh, there's so many tracks I love to listen to. My favorite one, actually, is Townlong Steps. It's a really, like, kind of dramatic piece, and the way Blizzard uses it during one of the raids, the Throne of Thunder quest line, it's that scene I always show you with Jaina and Lorthamar, and Terran Zeus stops them, and he's like, Every reprisal is itself an act of aggression, and every act of aggression triggers immediate reprisal.
They have undermined every attempt at peace.
Silence! Yeah, that part, and it's like, it was just such a well-placed song right there, and I really liked it. It's a weird song for it to be, like, my favorite. Like, it's a really, like, dramatic piece. I love the music, though. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Sorry. I could go on and on. The music's in the background of this video, guys, for, like, almost all of it. But let's move on to the characters of Pandaria. For those of you who don't know, Chen Stormstout, one of my he is my absolute favorite Warcraft character in the whole universe and mythos. I know Jackalope likes Chen too.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna kill you. He's one of my favorite. He's my favorite too.
He's so cool, like everything from his design, his personality. He's just a really lovable guy. I mean, even when I was a kid and I knew like nothing about Warcraft's lore, when I played Warcraft 3 with my brother, oh my god, I love Chen still, even just his model and look in Warcraft 3 from the Founding of Durotar campaign. Alright, so I know we could talk about Chen Stormstout for hours, but Jackalope, who's your favorite character in Pandaria?
Well, besides Chen Stormstout, I really like Lorewalker Cho. I know he's in that raid with the Cloud Serpent, and he really adds to the raid. I like his character. I like how he's like, kind of like an old-timey old man, but he's like telling stories, and I don't know, I like him, he's interesting.
Doesn't he remind you of Uncle Iroh from Avatar a little bit?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
We also have Terran Zoo, Lord of the Shadowpan. I remember at the time a lot of players like kind of disliked, but then after the expansion was out, a lot of players really liked him, and they were like, yeah, he was right the whole time. Awesome character, really badass design. And then you have characters like G and Asa that Jackie's heard me talk about them so many days of her life. And their ideologies with the Hoosian and the Chishui Pandaren, I really, really like them, and I'm glad Blizzard's been using them a lot more recently. Okay, so now that we talked about those awesome characters, Jackie, I wanted to actually ask you, what do you think about the Pandaren, like, as a race and design-wise?
Unorthodox. You always expect these, and they're not, you know, they are muscly, but you expect these big, muscly monster creature things, but you get these, like, kind of steady paced characters. They're a little chubby, you know, unorthodox. You wouldn't expect them to be like, well, they you know, liberated themselves from their own slavery, so it's like That's a cool story aspect.
Honestly, the story of Kang, the Fist of First Dawn, is a really, really awesome storyline that I encourage a lot of players check out at some point. It's basically how the Pandaren free themselves from the Mogu and who does it. And like, that's such a cool thing about them, is there's so much diversity with the race. Like, they're just, oh man, they're so interesting. The landscape of Pandaria is absolutely breathtaking. I know Nan mentioned later on in this that the world tells a story in Pandaria, and it really does. Everywhere you look, there's always something going on, and it's something I really, really admire about the expansion. And I think Blizzard and BFA has done a great job of this in recent years, and they keep getting better and better. About Pandaria especially, there's always something going on.
Oh, I agree. There's always something. There's always, everywhere you look, it's like, it's not wasted space. There's something that can either be a story element or like a little bit of lore, you know, here and there. I love the temples that are in the mountains, with the snowy temples that are like hanging. They're hanging off the mountains, right? That's what they look like.
Kind of, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I love that. It reminds me of like old Tibetan like temples, you know, places where people go to like pilgrim for, you know.
I think one of my favorite storylines for characters too, like when I'm just thinking about it, one of the most memorable characters in Mists of Pandaria was actually not a Pandaren for me, but General Nazgrim in the Horde. I just loved his whole arc of staying loyal to Garrosh even to the very end, just because his code of honor, that's what he believed he was doing was the right thing, even if it wasn't. It was really cool. It was a really sad story, and like the way that, and I bring up Nazgrim because the way Pandaria develops a lot of its characters is you get payoff in all the raids. Like in Siege of Orgrimmar, Blizzard did a really good job of like, oh my god, I have to fight this character because they stood on the other side of the battlefield. Like the Paragons of the Calaxy, the Mantid we were talking about the other day. You have to fight them in the raid, and it is kind of sad because you work with them earlier on in the expansion. You help them overthrow the Empress that's taken over by the Shah of Fear. Oh, the Shah, too. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. Poor Jackalope. I keep talking because I'm like, I can't stop talking about Pandaria. But, I mean, I really like how everything led into the Darkspear Rebellion against Garrosh. And I actually... Garrosh's character is a whole thing I could get into, but I really do like how he was portrayed as the antagonist of this expansion. After Mists, I would have liked something different from him, like, character-wise, like... other than being an antagonist, but during Mists of Pandaria, he was an excellent antagonist, and like, just his attitude was perfect for the villain of this expansion. Like, the Siege of Orgrimmar cutscene, Jackie, I've made you watch that thing like so many times. But isn't it really awesome the way him and Terranzu interact? Your father dabbled in powers beyond reckoning. Where is he now? I've watched it too many times. Another thing that we should really get into the storyline here that's coming soon at 8.3 is Rathian. So, Jackie, I know you didn't even get to play the legendary quest line in Mists of Pandaria, but oh my god, Rathian was one of the most interesting characters in Warcraft's lore. Some of his interactions with like Anduin, and then like his thoughts on the Alliance and Horde was just some of the most entertaining storylines I've had the pleasure of playing in any video game, I'll be honest. I cannot wait for him to come back in 8.3. Oh my god, that's next week. I think I've about covered it, guys. This is like, again, I've said this to a few people, but I could talk about Pandaria for hours. And it's funny, and I am going to spoil this just for the heck of it, but everyone, and thank you guys again for doing this, by the way. I can't thank you guys enough, but everyone who did a little bit of dialogue at the end of this is like, they said I can't consolidate it into like a short segment, and it's so true. Like, I'm rambling right now without a script, and I just can't consolidate it into like one thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, Jackie, do you have anything else you want to say about Pandaria?
No, looking forward to Pandaren Death Knights, though.
Hey, me too. And we get to go back there next patch.
Yeah.
Like, we get to go back to the Veil. The Veil's restored. Beautiful. The expansion's absolutely beautiful. I still can't get over the artwork to this day. But yeah, guys, I hope you really, really enjoy the rest of the content creators at the end of this video. We want to thank Nan the Mistweaver, Skull Shorties, Jukai, Goliath the Dwarf. Thank you guys so much for taking part in this. I'd love to collab on some future projects like this. Again, we both encourage you guys to check out Panduary on Twitter, post some awesome Pandaren content with the hashtag Panduary, Panduary2020, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Hello, it's Nan, the Mistweaver. Thank you to Bugs for letting me be a part of this video. I really appreciate it because I can always talk about Pandaria and what I love about the place, honestly. The Shah was a very new and interesting concept for WoW because it's usually just a bunch of monsters trying to kill you, but here it was actually your own psychological feelings trying to kill you in a very physical way. And they manifested around you, and all the negative feelings you had to let go in order to fight these. It was a lot less like just being physical strong. A lot of places in Pandaria where nothing is really going on, but they have still like built a whole house and a boat right in the middle of nothing, in order to make the world feel more living, and like the owner is just out fishing or something. I really like all those little empty spaces you can just go with your character and feel like you're living there or visiting. One of my favorite mounts, and it's so cute. It's really cute too. God, the Jade Forest is just so beautiful. I'm just being amazed every time I come here. I'm just blown away yet again. Man, the music. We can't really talk about Mr. Pandaria or Pandaria in general without talking about, you know, the guy inside this building, you know, the black dragon, you know, Rathian. Like, he's one of my all-time favorite characters, and I think he was so cool in Mr. Pandaria, and I couldn't wait to see what he was going to do. And I think his black talent agency just loomed around Pandaria very mysteriously and scary. They were quite awesome, trying to threaten me all the time. What an experience. The Time Walkers too, like having those little history lessons up here with Lore Walker Cho. Like you could witness history right in front of your eyes. Oh my god. Look at those clouds. They're so big and fluffy. Sorry, I have a thing for clouds. Yep. And it was the one with Shomi.
Welcome.
She wanted to like fight off the Sandalari trolls, but her father wouldn't let her, so she went all Mulan and went anyway, and wanted me to train her on how to like combat those. I just think she was a very interesting character. It was an interesting chain of quests that I really enjoyed, like helping this village fight off the Sandalari and train her so she could help her village.
Sword in the shadows.
Yeah, they had that whole Watchers on the Wall, Game of Thrones
In the shadows.
vibe that I really like.
Speak. We are the watchers on the wall.
Yeah, the Watchers on the Wall. Oh, look at this cloud. Wow, look at those little light rim. Oh, and this thunder. Woo! Woo! I really feel like Indiana Jones doing this. It's pretty cool. You can just like zero down. Pretty easy and non-deadly way to get to Krasarang Wilds. Yeah, Andon was also like one of my favorite things in this expansion. And well, especially all the banters he and Rathian had. I think that was quite good. Because they're so different characters and really have different moral viewpoints. And I get that most people wouldn't survive having a giant ass bell crust over them. But he does, and there's like, there's a really emotional scene where Anthony just lying like right here somewhere, and Varian comes in and it's like, he will pay. My son, he will pay. All the songs just have a certain quality to them, a certain feel. They feel so alive, and like I could go more in depth with everything, but that would take a lot longer because there would be a lot more to describe and much more detail too. So I just hope you will have a great day.
Greetings everyone, Box asked me to give my own overall thoughts on Pandaria here. While I could talk on it for hours on hours on it, I won't burden him with that. Pandaria was filled to the brim with amazing storytelling, great characters, breathtaking zones, calm-sounding yet also epic music, and just an overall amazing feel to it. It remains as one of my favorite expansions to this very day, topping over the likes of Legion and Wrath of the Lich King. Learning about the history of the continent with Lulakar Cho, exploring the land with Chen and Lili, fending off the enemies of Pandaria with the Shadowpan, expanding my power over my legendary cloak with Rathian, bonding with my Cloud Serpent, tending to my local farm, learning about what it is to be a member of the Horde. You feel like you're in a new world, taking in everything at once. Your actions feel like they have consequence and weight to them. And once the world of Azeroth arrives, you feel like multiple worlds are clashing into one. Mists of Pandaria will remain as an amazing experience, and I just wish I had more time to gush about it. But yeah.
So, being a Legion baby in Warcraft, I never actually played through Pandaria when it was live content. And I've only seen a couple of the zones while leveling an altar too. But I will say that I absolutely love what Pandaria contributed to the world of Warcraft and the amazing lore and story. It makes the world feel more diverse and lived in outside of the idea that there were only two factions in the world. It helps to break the binary. The Pandara are lovable, they're fun, they offer a philosophy that makes you step back and look at the entire faction conflict from a different perspective. The story also contributes so much lore to learning more about the Titans when you have the story of the Mogu and Ra, to learning about the old gods with the Shah, with the Mantid, with Yasharaj. It's just improved the game in so many ways. It's created an entire new world to explore. As someone who loves story and exploration, I can't imagine what Warcraft would be like without the contributions of Pandaria. Its zones are some of the most beautiful in the game, and I personally appreciate that unlike in BFA, they're all on one continent, so far easier to explore and enjoy. If I were to actually live anywhere in the world of Warcraft, I would probably pick Pandaria.
Hello everybody, I'm Jukai. It's going to be a little difficult to consolidate everything that I love about Pandaria in a very brief segment, but if anybody knows me, one thing that I love with any video game, especially World of Warcraft and the races of WoW, are essentially anything having to do with philosophy and accentuating the nuance behind the motivations between characters, races, factions, and etc. And this is what really drew me to Pandaren, especially the Huojin and Tushui in World of Warcraft. The ideological differences between the two, despite, the fact that they are the same race, have actual genuine reasons for tension and differing ideals that, even though most would feel physical confrontation isn't the first solution, it does give them an actual proper reason and some nuance behind the conflict. It's, in my opinion, a bit of a shame how the faction war has been played out, in a sense that it's essentially a war just between different races and aesthetics rather than an actual ideological purpose behind it. But with the Huojin and Tushui, there is an actual ideological reason behind the conflict. Now I could ramble on and on about that, but other things that I love obviously would be just the aesthetic, the music, the landscape, all of the different factions. I mean, there's just a crazy amount of factions in Pandaren lore and history, and they're all so different. You've got the Lore Walkers, the Shadowpan, the Order of the Cloud Serpents, and you've even got the Black Market. I really would love to hear more about them. But yeah, I would say that would be the main part that I love about Pandaren lore, and yeah.
I want to thank these four again for participating in this. Jukai, Nan the Mistweaver, Skull Shorties, and Goliath the Dwarf. And thanks again to Kath on Twitter for creating this awesome event. And thanks again to all the content creators that took part in this. We really appreciate it, and keep up the good Pandaren fight.